Mike McDaniel got fired today. Who else is upset? Because I'm devastated. I can't explain when I will appear on the internet, when I will disappear from the internet. It's just the chaos that's in the name of the channel. Hi, hello, welcome to Chaos Central Books. My name is Claire, and today I'm returning to the internet to rank all 65 books I read in 2025 from worst to best. This is probably not the brightest idea I've ever had because I'm notoriously mean-spirited in my reviews, so there's going to be a lot of hating in this. If you're not in the mood for that, don't watch, because I cannot promise that I will be nice. In fact, I'll promise the opposite. I'm going to be mean. And I'm sorry, okay? I am, because I wish I was nicer. I wish I had more positive things to say about the books I read. But full transparency, noises from the neighbors. Full transparency, 2025 was the worst year of my life, hands down. And like, you guys don't even know the half of it. Okay. It was the worst year of my life, and I think it's reflected in my reading. This was the worst reading year I've had in a while in terms of numbers, but also in terms of quality. Like, I wasn't reading a lot of new faves. In fact, I was reading a lot of books that I hated. I don't really subscribe to a star rating system, but Fable, an app I use to track my books, requires that you give a star rating to a book if you want to post a review. And I write a review for everything, whether it's one sentence, one word, to a whole rant about Pittsburgh geography. Stay tuned, more on that later. So don't take my star ratings at value, but I did rank these. I made a spreadsheet, and then I made notes on the spreadsheet about every book I read. So let's just get into it, because I can't promise this will be fun, but it will be some time of my life. I need to stop hitting the microphone because it's going to make terrible noises. I have my laptop here. We're going to dive in. We're going to start with the worst books I've read this year, as promised. And I gave all of these, I gave 3 books 1 star. Okay, again, star rated, blah, 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 blah. Who cares? In my head, these are 1-star books. And there's 3 of them. And they're all a part of the Game Changer series by Rachel Reed. Yes, I did watch Heated Rivalry multiple times, actually, because I watched it alone, and I watched it with my friend. I watched it again with my other friend, like the 3 of us who watched it. It's a good show. The books it's based on, so bad. They're so bad. I did read them out of order, full transparency, but regardless, okay, they're not well written and they're not for me, but I read them anyway, okay? And this, I could have just done I read the Game Changer series, so you didn't have to. I read Heated Rivalry, so you didn't have to, but that would just be mean of me. So I'm just going to tell you, I read them and I did not like them. The worst one, I think, is Common Goal, which I think is the 4th book. Again, I read them out of order. It's the one about Eric and Kyle. And it's really hard for me to get on board with a romance between 2 men named Eric and Kyle. No offense to Erics and Kyles, but we're starting off on the wrong foot already. So I thought this was the worst one. I didn't care about the leads. The conflict was stupid. All of it was just unappealing to me. And that's saying a lot because I also gave 2 of the other books in the series 1 star. Moving on, the next one I rated 1 star as Tough Guy, which is the 3rd book in the series. A lot of people made me seem like I would like this because it's about Ryan Price, who is briefly mentioned in Heated Rivalry. He makes an appearance, but he's not a focal point in any means. But he gets his whole spin-off, and I do not care. I didn't care about him, I'm sorry. Him and his love interest, I didn't like it. Enough said, I gotta stop talking about these. And then the last book I gave 1 star was Heated Rivalry itself. I don't know what those freaks in Canada saw in this. Jacob Tierney, creator of the show, also helped make Letterkenny, which is crazy. I don't know what he saw. Looking back, this is maybe a 1.25 or a 1.5, which isn't all that different in the grand scheme of things, but I think I'm giving it a boosted rating because I think the show is so good. I don't know how this book spawned the show, truthfully. This is bare bones. Plot, don't know her. But the show adds a depth that I found compelling, and the performances are amazing. The acting, is truly top tier. I think it's a success for a reason. So the source material, not for me, but that's fine because the show is good. Next up, we have the books I gave 1.5 stars, which again is not all that different than the 1 star, but they're not as bad as it could get, okay? We have How It Works Out by Miriam LaCroix. Is her name LaCroix? It looks like LaCroix. Whatever. I've already spent more time thinking about her name than the book itself. I don't remember much from this book, if at all. I just remember it was really annoying. It pissed me off. And that's why it's this low. Okay. Then we have The Long Game by Rachel Reed, which is the final book in the Game Changer series, unless she writes more books based on the success of the show as a cash grab. I will not be reading those. I'm saying it now. Hold me accountable. I will not be reading any more books in the series. I'm done. I've completed that chapter of my life. It's not. This book was not good. In fact, I feel like I was more frustrated by it than a lot of the other books in the series, but I'm giving it credit because there was an attempt at plot. There's an attempt at plot and character development, and for that, it gets a 0.5 boost. I don't know what it is, but I think Rachel Reed hates shame as a character, because even in the long game and all of the other books, like Ilya makes more appearances and he's like more endearing. He just gets more time. And I'm like, does anybody care about Shane? This is stupid. Ilya feels like a more well-rounded character, and I guess that's good enough for me. Whatever. I'm so mean. All right, next we have Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I made a whole reading vlog about this book. If you want to see me crash out in real time over that, go ahead and watch that. I don't feel like I need to spend more time talking about this book than I already have. I didn't like it. In fact, it's made me turn my back on Emily Henry on the whole. And I've liked her previous work, so I had a bad time, and I'm moving on with my life. Speaking of bad time, we've got a double whammy, okay? We have The Rest of Our Lives by Ben Markovitz. I read this in my attempt to read the Booker Prize long list for this year. Last year, 2020. Time isn't real. The Booker Prize long list for 2025. This was, I think, shortlisted even. I got a digital arc from the publisher, which I think, was it Scribner or Simon & Schuster? One of those two. Editing me. Address it. I finished this book actually the same day I finished Heated Rivalry, if you can believe it. What a 1-2 punch that was. This book was bad. I really didn't like it. In fact, it angered me a lot. The most emotion it elicited out of me was about Pittsburgh geography and the errors the author made about Pittsburgh geography. But like, I could not care about the characters or what the main dude was going through. He was not interesting to me. And I just like, this is a prime example of why I do not trust the Booker Prize anymore. They've hurt me one too many times, okay? And speaking, the prime example of how they've hurt me, the last book in this reading, whatever, Flesh. This is the winner of the 2025 Booker Prize. And I hated this book. This is actually my most popular review on Fable. If you can, it's not anything spectacular. It got like 50 likes. It's not like a viral review, but I feel seen by people liking that review. This book is so anti-me. It's coming from me personally. I hated it so much, and I don't like. I can't imagine ever liking this book. I can't even imagine having like a conversation about this book that I like enjoy the conversation. Does that make any sense? Like, I can't imagine anyone in my life liking this book to the point where they want to talk to me about it and we have like a interesting dialogue. I'm destined to hate this book, and that's just kind of it. And I did hate it. So, can you tell I'm out of practice? Yeah, me too. Next up, we have the books I gave 2 stars, which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The stats are low. Starting off, we have Slow Dance by Rainbow Rowell. I have a huge attachment to the Rainbow Rowell books of my youth, specifically Fangirl. That book shaped my personality and my brain chemistry more than I would like to admit. And unfortunately, her latest release, this book, did nothing for me. I actually hated it so much. I found the characters insufferable. The chemistry was non-existent. And the book was boring, annoying, bad. Hence the 2 stars in the bottom of this tier list. This isn't really a tier list. I'm just like, whatever number this is, I'm not keeping track, whatever. Next up we have I Hope This Finds You Well. I think I talked about this book earlier in one of my other videos, who cares? This book was marketed as funny. I did not find it funny. I mostly found it sad. That made my reading experience not a fun time. So I didn't like it. Then we have The Compound. Again, this book was also marketed weird. It's marketed as Lord of the Flies meets Love Island, but it's actually way more Love Island than Lord of the Flies, and I was there for Lord of the Flies stuff. I wanted people to die. I don't think nearly enough people died. Is that a spoiler? I don't mean, I don't actually know if anybody died, but more people should have. So, moving on. We have Misinterpretation. This was another one on the Booker Prize long list this year, and I need a seminar on why books get chosen for the Booker Prize, who's responsible for them. I need somebody to claim ownership of this one, because if there was a point, I missed it. This book was so boring. My review just says snooze fest because it was. There's nothing compelling here for me personally. Then we have The Favorites. I think I need to stay away from books where people are ice skating. There's ice skates, there's ice, some sort of rink. Shouldn't be reading this. I saw people hyping this one up online, so I took a chance. That's on me. Shouldn't take a chance because this book didn't work. Yeah, I didn't like it. I thought it was bad. Okay, this is the last one. I put Game Changer here. I think it's the best one in the series, and I did read it only after watching episode 3 of the series. I read the first book and then watched the first 2 episodes of the series and was like, I don't need to read anymore. And then episode 3 happened, and I needed to go back to the source material for Scott and Kip, because Francois Arnault and his performance of Scott Hunter was so endearing to me that I was like, okay, I'll read your book. And I'm glad I did, because this was the best of the series. Still only gave it 2 stars, so slow your roll. I don't know. This one was the best, okay? I read the series in the order 2, 1, 6, jumped to the long game, and then I did 3, 4, 5. But I only finished number 5 this year in January, so it's not in these rankings. I still only gave it 1 star. I would probably put it above Common Goal, but below Tough Guy. I don't know. They're all bad. That's my review of the series. They're all bad. There you go. Finally, the last book I have in this category. That's How They Get You. I read this because the lovely people of Pantheon sent it over to me. I was interested in it because Hanif contributed to it, and I like what Hanif writes. Unfortunately, his contribution was very small, and all of the other pieces that were contributed didn't really work for me. There was like 3 total, including Hanif's, that I liked, so didn't really work for me. Happy to have read it. Now we have a 2.25 star rated book. What a specific rating for this one book. It's never been shipped. This was Paramore fan fiction, made me uncomfy, and really the only reason I remember it is because it was Paramore fan fiction. So that's all I have to say. Moving on to the books I've rated 2.5 stars. Starting off, we have Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley. This book was really bad. How many times can I just say a book was bad? I didn't like this book. I felt a deep and personal rage while reading this. I thought it was really annoying. I thought it was really annoying, okay? Also oddly terrifying because in another universe, this could be my life. And I will not elaborate on that. Moving on, we have Our Evenings by Ellen Hollinghurst. This was disappointing to me. The lovely people at Random House sent this to me. I was excited about it, but it was weirdly reminiscent of A Little Life. It just didn't work for me, okay? Sorry. We have A Leopard Skin Hat. This was read in my attempt to read the International Booker long list this year, and that was a terrible experiment. I failed miserably, but this was so forgettable to me. Literally, it took me like 3 months to read, and it's barely 100 pages. Just nothing about this was up my alley. And very forgettable. I couldn't tell you what it was about. Moving on, we have Nice Girls Don't Win by Parvati Shallow, winner of Survivor. I don't know if any of you are interested in a memoir by a Survivor winner, but like, you shouldn't be. I sound so annoying. I'm mean, okay? I'm mean. I'm sorry. Congrats to all these people for writing a book. I can do that. I can just read them and be snarky about them online. Different skill set, maybe. We have Entitlement. This was sent to me by the people of Riverhead, and he had me in the first half. I'm not gonna lie. The first half of the book, I was like, oh my god, wait, this is good. And then the second half just fell off. And I had the same experience with the author's previous work. I just think he's not for me. And I wish he was, because there's interesting ideas. The execution just falls flat for me. We have Audition by Katie Kitamura. This was also longlisted, perhaps even shortlisted for the Booker Prize this year. I'm so shocked that anybody feels strongly about this one way or another. I heard there were like people who loved this book and people who hated this book. I'm the person who's neutral on it. There was nothing about this where I thought it was revolutionary or exciting. I also didn't think it was so bad to inspire vitriol. So, hot take, I guess. I don't know. Next, we have Good Girl. This was another arc that was sent to me by the people of Hogarth. Unfortunately, there's a toxic relationship at the center of this book that just takes me out of the interesting conversation it's having about like culture and identity. Way more interested in that than any toxic boyfriend dynamic. I'm not interested in that at all. In fact, remove all toxic men from my books and perhaps I'd have a better reading experience. I don't know, just a thought. That's on me though. Finally, the last book I have in this category is Assembly by Natasha Brown. I wanted to read this before I read her second novel, Universality. This novel is doing a lot and it just kind of was too much for me personally. Perhaps my brain is too small. I can appreciate that she did something so ambitious and experimental with her debut, but it just didn't work for me. Again, I appreciate the effort. Does that sound mean? I don't mean that to be demeaning. It's actually a compliment, but I understand how my tone is bad. Moving on, we have the books that I rated 2.75 stars. Again, a very specific rating for books that really don't inspire that much thought in my mind. We have Digital Minimalism. Listen, I don't know. I was trying to find answers as to why I felt bad all the time, and everyone's saying it's these damn phones. So I was looking for answers in this book, did not find them. This guy did not have any answers for me. Hence why I'm still on the internet, so whatever. Finally, we have Heart the Lover by Lily King. This is maybe a controversial take. I know Lily King is a great writer. Loved Writers and Lovers. I even liked, it's not, something about 5 Tuesdays in Winter, something, a short story collection. I like that. I just like, why is nobody talking about how this is a sequel to Writers and Lovers? And it's not even marketed as that. The synopsis mentions like a delightful thread, but maybe this is a sequel. It's actually a sequel and a prequel, if you can believe it. There's a time jump in the middle of this book that what happens in the middle of that time jump? The entirety of Writers and Lovers. That's so weird. Why would you market this book not as a sequel if it is one? So confusing to me. Very, very bizarre choices that were made here, and they didn't work for me, and it made me angry. Full of rage this year. What can I say? Next, we have my 3-star reads. The first of which is Cheap Therapist Says You're Insane. This was a Jaylen rec, and I genuinely just think I'm not smart enough to get it. My brain is too small for this, hence why I gave it 3 stars, because I'm like, there must be something going on that I don't get. We next have The Wickedest by Caleb Femi, I want to say. This was sent to me by MCD FSG. It's a poetry collection, and my brain is just too small for poetry as well. My brain is small. These books are doing bigger things than my brain can comprehend. My rating does not reflect the genius of the book. It reflects the smallness of my brain. Smallness? Small size of my brain, whatever. Next, we have Banal Nightmare by Hallie Butler. This was another arc that was sent to me by Random House, and unfortunately, the title says it all with this book. I wish I enjoyed it more. It grew really grating on me by the end. So moving on, we have Cults Like Us. This was an informative book about cults. If you're in the mood for cult stuff, like I often am, I would recommend this. We also have A Sunny Place for Shady People. This was sent to me by Hogarth. And unfortunately, with most short story collections, it's hard for me to find like a favorite collection because it's a bunch of different pieces and some of the pieces just don't work. You know, this was more good than bad, but ultimately nothing life-changing for me. This is an odd one. We have The Little Frog's Guide to Life. I probably shouldn't have counted this in my stats, but it was on Goodreads, so I counted it. Who cares? This was a gift my friend got me for Christmas. I liked it. It's cute. 3 stars. Next, we have Stagnance by Tori Peters. This was an arc sent to me by Random House, and kind of similar problem to A Sunny Place for Shady People. It's a novella in stories, or maybe it's a novel in stories. Felt like a novella. Who cares? The titular Stagnance didn't really work for me. I thought the short stories were stronger, but to each their own, you know. Finally, we have Sonnets for Miss Key by my main man, Percival Everett. Percival Everett is one of my favorite authors, if not like the favorite author of mine. He can do no wrong in my eyes. Unfortunately, again, my brain is just small. My brain is small, and sometimes he's working on a level that I can't get to. This is probably one of those times. Glad I read it though. Moving on, we have one book that I gave 3.25 stars. This is On the Calculation of Volume 1. I don't know what you guys see in this series. This is supposed to be a 7-part series. Y'all, this was boring as hell. Maybe if she did something in this one, the series wouldn't have to be 7 parts. We could cut that in half. That's all I'm saying. Moving on to books I gave 3.5 stars. This is also an odd one. Okay, we have Autopsy by Avanjogia. Curiosity got me here. Maybe this man is conceited and arrogant, but like, look at him, okay? Whatever. Then we have Check Please Volume 1. Again, the heated rivalry spiral that just like crashed my life in the last 2 months of the year amidst all the other spirals I was on. People on TikTok said this was reminiscent of heated rivalry in the case that it was about gay hockey players. So I read it. It was cute, easy, whatever. Next we have Harriet Tubman Live in Concert by Bob the Drag Queen. Only Bob the Drag Queen could have written this, and I'm glad he did. It was a fun time. Thought it was interesting. Truly a one-of-a-kind book. Nothing else like this exists. Then we have A Language of Limbs by Dylan Hardcastle. This is a super promising, well-written debut. The people of Dutton sent me a copy of this, and I was very grateful to them. I think it's worth reading. Next, we have Rejection. I know a lot of people have talked about this because this is the weirdest book I've probably ever read. I feel like I read a lot of weird stuff, but maybe I don't read enough weird stuff if this was so jarring to me. It made me really uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable even thinking about it. Wild, weird, whatever people have said about it is correct. Then we have Color Television by Danzy Senna. This was my first book by her, but it won't be my last. I understand why she and Percival Everett are married after reading this. Like, those people belong together. Okay, we're moving on to the books that I rated 3.75 stars. At this point, all of these books and above are ones I would recommend to anyone. I feel like I could find a niche audience for any of the previous books, even the ones I didn't like. These are ones I would recommend to anyone, starting with Absolution by Jeff Vandermeer. This is the conclusion to the Southern Reach series. I was very grateful that the people of MCD FSG sent me an arc of this. I was very slow in reading it because I had to get through the whole series first. I still think Annihilation is my favorite. I appreciated how much Vandermeer explores the universe here, and he really expands on it. But I think like the power of this series lies in the ambiguities that are ever present. Annihilation is just like 1 in a million, like lightning in a bottle. That book, really good. Then we have Stoneyard Devotional. This is from the 2024, maybe even 2023 Booker long list. Who cares? Time isn't real. Whatever. This one's underrated. I really liked it. It had me googling, do you have to believe in God to be a nun? And can only men be monks? So do with that information what you will. Next, we have Friday Black. This is a short story collection that I think really worked for me specifically. This is by the same author who wrote Chain Gang All-Stars, and that book haunts me to this day. I think in this short story collection, you can see seeds that the author was planting that really flourish in his longer fiction. And I just thought it was good. This is good stuff. Finally, we have Perfection. This was another shortlisted title for the International Booker Prize this year. Last year, the year of our Lord 2025. That's the year I'm referring to. It was good. I mean, I gave it 3.75 stars. I liked it. I own it. It was at this point in time that I started really questioning how much weight I give to book prizes and how they color my expectations and experiences when reading a book. Because I liked this book, but I didn't feel like it was worthy of a book prize, even though it was well written and thought provoking. It just like, it doesn't scream book prize to me. So maybe it's my problem for like assigning expectations to something to be like a book prize book, even though I thought it was good. Maybe this is why I'm not a Booker Prize judge. Maybe. Moving on to the books that I gave 4 stars, we actually have more 4-star books than I was expecting for how much I was talking crap on the reading year I've had. These are books that I thought were legitimately good. Starting with this is a weird one to start with. Starting with The Mindful Way Through Depression. I was depressed. Moving on. We have Universality by Natasha Brown. This is another one where my expectations for book prizes just really got to me. I read this before it was longlisted for the Booker Prize, and I liked it. I thought it was good. I had a fun time, and then it was nominated for the Booker Prize, and I was shocked because why is this book a Booker Prize book to the eyes of the judges? Not to me, but again, maybe that's me. That's me failing to understand the Booker Prize. So I don't know. I've literally never been correct about the Booker Prize, so I'm the problem. Like, whatever. How many times have I said whatever? We have Human Acts by Hong Kong. I want to say her name is pronounced. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. This is a banger. That author is so talented and full of rage. I love her. We have Elena Knows by Claudia Pinheiro. This is incredibly haunting, moving, well written. I have a whole reading blog about this if you want to hear more thoughts on it. But it was good. Gave it 4 stars. Had a good time. Next, we have The Anthropologist, and I really like this quiet, meditative, gorgeous cover. I think I would actually like it more on the reread, so maybe I should like buy a copy and read it again. But I have so many books to read. Who has the time for that? This is another one I think would do better on a reread, and it's The Mobius Book by Catherine Lacey. Unfortunately, I read this during July, which was one of the worst months of my life because I was preparing for the bar exam, taking the bar exam, and I was just so slow reading anything because my brain was fried. So perhaps if I read it during a different month of my life, my experience would be better. But Catherine Lacey is undeniable. Talented author, like her work. Then we have The Vegetarian. This is my first book by Hong Kong, and it's going to be hard for her to do better than this for me. Like, this is so up my alley. This was just so good. There's like a wonderful and quiet rage simmering throughout the entire book that just speaks to me personally. Okay, so it's going to be really hard for her to do better than this, but I still have We Do Not Part on the docket. I own a copy of that was sent to me by the people of Hogarth, along with copies of Human Acts and The Vegetarian, actually. So I need to get to that soon. Next, we have Betty. This is as haunting and harrowing as everyone says. In fact, I feel it would be bad of me to recommend this just because, like, oof, it's a tough one, but I mean, it's good. Then we have Erasure. I had to Google the ending because my brain's too small for it, okay? But seriously, if you haven't read something by Percival Everett after hearing me talk incessantly about this man, I don't know what else to convince you. I do just think, like, he's a genius. He's the greatest living writer, period. Like, that's my take. I think he's brilliant, and I think you should read his books. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Next, we have Hunchback. This is probably the most underrated book I've read this year, I would say. This was nominated for the International Booker. I think it was only longlisted, didn't make the short list, but it was my favorite of the 4. I think I read 4 from the long list this year. I didn't even read the winner. Whatever. Of the 4 that I read, this was my favorite. I thought it was so weird and jarring and brave and just like, you really have to sit in the discomfort of this one. It worked. I don't know. Thank you, Hogarth, for the arc of this one. The last 4-star book I have is The Blue Sky by Toni Morrison. This is probably the best book, period. And I gave it 4 stars, so do with that information what you will, but like, Toni Morrison cooked here. And this is my favorite one by her to date. I think it's the 3rd one. I've read Sula. Shoot, what's the other one? I feel like I've read one more. Song of Solomon, that's the other one I read. Okay, this is definitely my favorite of those 3. We have books I gave 4.25 stars. There's actually only 2 of these. The first is You Should Be So Lucky. I actually read this book twice. Once in January after I heard Cari Can Read talk about it, and I was like, yeah, okay, sure. And then I read it and I was like, yeah, okay, sure. And I liked it so much that I decided to gift and annotate a copy to my friend Maddie. We do this. I've been doing this for like maybe a decade. I don't know. But each year for her birthday and Christmas, I gift her a book. I annotated. This was that year's selection because I read it in January. I was like, this will be a good one to give her later in the year. So I read it again, had a good time, annotated it. There we go. Something about gay baseball appeals to me, more so than gay hockey. Next, we have I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. The internet hype is real with this one. There's nothing I can say to significantly add to it, so I won't. Okay, moving on to the books I gave 4.5 stars. We have 4 of them, and all of these I thought were elite. Why I didn't give them 5, I don't know. It's just a vibe thing, okay? We have Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. I liked it. Sue me. I think John Green is a good writer. I think he's compelling and sincere in his nonfiction in a way that appeals to me. Whatever. Next, we have Luminous. This is a sleeper hit of 2025. Like, I don't think I've seen anybody else talk about this book, but for me, robot books are back. I had a fun time, okay? So much is going on here, and I loved it. I can't believe it was a debut. I actually feel like Bill Hader's character Stefan from Saturday Night Live when he's like, this book has everything. We got a robot murder mystery in a futuristic unified Korea. We have a trans cyborg war veteran turned detective with daddy issues. And we have robot kids hanging around in a junkyard. What else could you want? Good time for me. Next, we have Bibliophobia. This was such a painful moving memoir, and it found me at the exact right time. Maybe it won't work for everybody. Worked for me, worked for my brain. It's for the depressed and bookish, and that's me to a T. And then we have Things in Nature Merely Grow by Yeon Lee. This is another painful and moving memoir. I don't think I can recommend this. Like, her writing is like a gut punch, and it's such a well written account of something so terrifying, like haunting, harrowing. I hate to recommend it. It's so devastating, but if you can deal, it's incredible. Finally, I gave 2 books 5 stars this year. One nonfiction, one fiction, which seems appropriate. The highest rated nonfiction book is One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This. I feel like I'm talking about this book constantly. If you read one nonfiction book ever, it should be this one, without a doubt. Like, best nonfiction of the year. Everyone should read this book. That's all I gotta say. Finally, we have the best book I read last year, which was Palaver by Brian Washington. This book, I don't know what it is about Brian Washington's writing. He has a direct connection to my brain and my heart. It's just everything he writes works for me. I read this when I first got a digital ARC in March, and I tried to do a reread once it was published. FSG sent me a copy. I think I want to give away or something. I don't know. I ended up with a physical copy, and I tried to do a reread, but then life got crazy. So I'm reading again now. I don't know. Brian Washington is just an author that works for me. I don't really know how to explain it. It's kind of like how so many people feel about Sally Rooney. He's just it. You know, we did it. Those are all 65 books I read in 2025, rated worst to best. Technically 64 because I read You Should Be So Lucky twice, but whatever. The stats say 65. Is that enough? I don't know. I don't know how long that's going to be. I don't know if any of that is coherent, makes sense. That's just what I read in the year 2025. Life has been lifing, and through it all, we keep reading. That's just kind of it. This is all I've ever done. It's all I've ever known, and I will keep doing that because it hasn't failed me yet. I want to find a book I like this year. That's the goal. Find a book I like. So maybe that means reading more authors that I trust. Maybe it means branching out. Maybe it means actually staying offline and reading less of the hyped internet books and just kind of like trusting my gut. I don't know if I should trust my gut, actually. I feel like that's not going to do well for me. Let me know what your favorite books of 2025 were, and that's all I have. I will see you next time. Bye. This is the day Mike McDaniel got fired as the coach of the Miami Dolphins. And I'm unironically wearing a Miami crew neck. This was not planned. That news was broken to me by my brother texting me, "There goes Mikey," which is a devastating way for your dreams to be crushed. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with all the football knowledge I've accumulated because I got into football because I liked the coach of the Miami Dolphins. I liked his approach. I liked that he was a nerd that went to Yale. And they let him coach a football team. It's like, hey, it doesn't have to be all annoying jocks. It could be some rando, some weird guy with capri pants in Miami, Florida. And now, where's he going to go? Is he still going to wear his capris?